My name is Xcore. I am a mixed media visual artist who specializes in cartoon, character design, and character writing. I'm currently working on a comic that I've been developing for the past 5 years and hope to have its first issue released sometime in 2019. I also run a small but slowly growing variety channel on YouTube, which one of my main focuses happen to be politics, where I discuss issues such as radical feminism, identity politics, and the general regressive left ideas. Now, because of my referral, it would be safe to assume that I am a right-wing conservative, but you would be wrong. On the political spectrum, I see myself relatively neutral but slightly to the left, though I disagree with at least a few left-wing ideologies. But I'll save that for another video. For this video, I want to talk about something that's quite important to me, and that is politics and the freedom of expression in artwork, and the lack thereof. Before I begin, I want to make clear that everything I'm going to talk about is just within my own experience, so try your best not to get triggered. I've noticed as I started to become more politically involved online that politics seem to be quite discouraged in artwork, especially if it goes against the left-wing narrative that's being pushed by the big mainstream media. Back a few years when I had adopted the ideologies of the left, I was doing pretty well on DeviantArt, which was my main social media outlet at the time. However, once I started to change my thoughts and ideas about these subjects involving feminism and identity politics, my growth began to slow and eventually stop. I had people unfollow me simply because I said I wasn't a feminist, or because I believe in something as insane as two genders. No more, no less. After the 2016 election of Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States of America, I drew a 3-panel comic illustrating how the media seemed to have warped the perception of those who were rooting for Hillary and how many people didn't even vote in the election, yet still felt that they should complain when they didn't get their way even though they had a chance to make an impact. While this political comic did get an overwhelming amount of support from other users, one in particular went on a rant in my comments section, basically saying how it was such a bad comic because they didn't agree with it. I'll leave a link to that in the description, though I urge you to refrain from harassing or otherwise bothering this user. It seems to be a very popular thing for moderators to censor content that you deem offensive or content they simply do not agree with. Take Amino for example. Now, I love hanging out on Amino. It's where I spend a pretty good chunk of my time, but I've noticed that it is more acceptable for the leaders and the curators to disable content posted that they don't like, especially if it goes against feminism or identity politics. When I first made How to Draw a Feminist, I shared it across about 10 Amino communities. Some of them were art communities, and some of them were YouTube communities. I clearly stated that it was satire, it was a joke, and it wasn't meant to be taken seriously. These posts had an overwhelming amount of support from other community members. However, some leaders and curators, the ones who held the power, didn't seem to really care about the lack of complaints, as the vast majority of users who saw it got the joke and weren't bothered by it. Even a leader on one of these communities seemingly didn't have a problem with it, and they communicated with me in the comments of the post itself. And it was still disabled by a triggered curator whose feelings got a little too hurt for their liking. Out of the 10 communities that I shared this in, How to Draw a Feminist still exists in about 4 or 5 of them. I ran into a similar situation again when I posted the Xcore meme doodle comic titled Gender, which again received mostly positive feedback. I even had some good debates and conversations in the comment sections of the posts. But once again, it was censored by more powerful users who couldn't take a more non-biased approach to their jobs. It seems there's this double standard when it comes to politics and expression of one's views in the art community, especially in the online cartoonist community. While the left receives praise for sharing their ideas no matter how smart or stupid it happens to be, the right, or not even, gets shut down simply for opposing. But of course, you don't need me to tell you that. It's important that we as artists stand up for our right to express how we feel about the world and where our society is going. It's important that we have the freedom to share our thoughts and our ideas in whatever medium we work in without fear of being censored for opening our mouths and our minds. It is important that we do so in a respectful manner as not to arouse reason for shutdown, and it is the responsibility of those empowered of these platforms to allow every one of their users to have a voice and use it. With censorship, we lose our freedom of speech and our freedom of expression. And losing our freedom of speech and expression is everyone's problem. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends to help the EK crew grow stronger, and smash down that subscribe button while you're at it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more updates from me as well. Have a good day or night. Time zones are weird, and I'll see you in the next video.